Welcome to Fantasy Baseball Weekly, presented to you by Levitra. I'm your host, Amber Wilson, for CBS Sportsline. Eric Mack will join us in a little bit to go over all the news and notes around Major League Baseball and take a special look at some hot prospects ready to make the leap to the bigs. But first, we like to take a look at some of the hottest players in fantasy baseball, and there is none hotter than the Seattle Mariners' Ichiro Suzuki. Since coming over from Japan in 2001, Ichiro has had at least 200 hits in each of his first 6 seasons and is well on pace to do so again this season. His current 19-game hitting streak followed a 25-game hit streak and has had 14 multi-hit games in his last 22. He is already well over halfway to the 200 mark for his 7th straight season with the surprising Mariners, who own the 5th best record in the American League. Another surprising team in second place in the AL East is the Toronto Blue Jays, as they continue to get some quality pitching from some unsuspected places. Not only did they have Dustin McGowan take a no-hitter into the 9th on Saturday, but Sean Markham hasn't lost a game in 8 starts since joining the rotation. Of course, they have Roy Halladay. His ERA is a little bit higher than years past, but he still has an 8-2 record on the year, and the Blue Jays are 10-3 in games if he starts. Even in Halladay's tough outings, he's getting the support of the Jays offense, as Toronto scores well over 6 runs when he takes the hill. They've scored at least 11 in 3 of his last 4 starts. Frank Thomas is having a tough year by his standards, hitting only .242, but he's been on a little bit of a tear as of late. He's 9 for 25 with 4 homers and 10 RBI in his last 7 games as he makes his way toward the 500 homer mark. Presently, he's at 499 and counting. The Big Hurt's old team, on the other hand, is the coldest in baseball, having dropped 21 of 26 games, including a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Crosstown Cubs, in which the Sox could only muster 3 runs. Just 2 seasons removed from a World Series championship, though, the White Sox have a bunch of pieces that contenders around baseball might want to add to make a playoff push. And GM Kenny Williams has proven in the past to be a very proactive move maker, so any number of White Sox could very well be on the move very, very soon. Most notably, Mark Buehrle. Buehrle has been the White Sox ace since 2001, helped them win the 2005 World Series, and pitched his first career no-hitter earlier this year, but is also a free agent to be at season's end and has already rejected a couple of Sox extension offers. He's only 4-4 in the year, but is a very low ERA, and a move for him to a contender might get him the run support needed to become a pretty dominant fantasy pitcher. Some potential landing places for Buehrle could be the Boston Red Sox or the New York Mets. Also, Jermaine Dye, who finished 5th in last year's AL MVP voting, could also be on the move. He's in a contract year, but is a little dinged up and is only batting .230 on the year. When we come back, Eric Mack will join us and give us the latest on any big trades that are pending, plus give you his prospect report. Stick around. You're watching Fantasy Baseball Weekly, presented to you by Levitra. We'll be right back.
When my doctor told me my high blood pressure may have led to my erectile dysfunction, I was surprised. But then he said there was something I could do.
When I found out my diabetes could have led to my ED, I learned there was help.
My doctor told me about Levitra.
Levitra is clinically proven to work for men with ED, even those with high blood pressure or diabetes. Levitra is only for men healthy enough for sexual activity. If you have heart problems or are on alpha blocker therapy, talk to your doctor before taking Levitra. Do not take Levitra if you take nitrates for chest pains, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing and stuffy or runny nose. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Levitra and call your doctor right away.
Doctors know Levitra helps treat ED, even in men with high blood pressure.
And in men with diabetes.
Over 1 million men just like me have already taken Levitra.
You should talk to your doctor about Levitra.
The more you know about ED, the more you'll want to know about Levitra.
And welcome back to the Fantasy Baseball Weekly Planner, presented to you by Levitra. We welcome in senior fantasy baseball analyst Eric Mack to the program. And Eric, just before the break, we were talking about the Chicago White Sox and Mark Buehrle. Where's Buehrle heading? What's that mean for fantasy owners?
Well, he's heading for the headlines because he's going to be a hot topic in the next few weeks. Don't expect a player of his caliber to move quickly, though. The White Sox would be wise to deal him right now while he's hot, but it's more likely GM Kenny Williams waits around for the right deal to be available. He's going to go someplace, and any number of contenders are interested. He'll get a nice bump in wins potential elsewhere, but don't expect him to be truly dominant. Even at his best, he was a borderline fantasy ace. He just doesn't strike out hitters like some aces do.
Are there any other trades on the horizon that would move some fantasy studs around?
Yeah, well, Jermaine Dye is also on the block with the White Sox, but he's a little banged up right now. Cincinnati will be a popular place for teams looking for pop. Adam Dunn and Ken Griffey are 2 huge bats on the market. Dye, Dunn, Griffey, it is rare to see this much pop available this time of year. These guys switch leagues. There'll be elite additions in AL-only or NL-only formats that allow you to add players as they become available in your player pool. It's maybe not this week, but now is the time to start saving up your waiver priorities and free agent acquisition dollars in leagues that use those rules.
Now, explain to everyone out there what free agent acquisition dollars are.
Well, leagues allow you to add players through waivers, but they make you pay for them, say, a $100 budget annually.
Oh, all right. Okay. And last week we were talking about Yovani Gallardo. He had a pretty good start against the Giants. He got a win in 6 2/3 innings. Who's the next hot prospect to get caught up and make an immediate impact?
Well, we're going to have to stay with the pitchers because it's still a quiet year for imminent hitter call-ups. Former number 1 pick Mike Pelfrey is a candidate to join the Mets this weekend as their number 6 starter. It's necessary because of a doubleheader against the Phillies in an 8-game week. The Phillies also have 8 games, but they need 6 starters because John Lieber lost for the season this weekend, and he opened up a vacancy in their rotation. Prospect J.A. Happ is likely to get one of the calls. He's a decent prospect, but he's a little untested, having come back recently from an elbow injury. Consider him in NL-only leagues this week. Although it was a tough matchup against the Mets, there could be a permanent rotation spot for him if he pitches well. Another candidate for promotion with the Phillies is far more elite. That would be 20-year-old Carlos Carrasco. Carrasco was just recently promoted to Double-A after dominating High Class A, and he's developed into one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. If he were to get the call, pitch well, and earn a permanent spot, there's no telling what he could do for your fantasy team. Consider him in any format if he's called up. Honestly, though, we just don't see the Phillies rushing him in an emergency, but we have to mention him because he is that good of a prospect.
All right, good advice as always. Thanks, Eric. That'll do it for us for now. Keep your mouse clicking right here on CBSSportsline.com for everything you need to know in the world of sports. And don't forget to come back Thursday for our Fantasy Baseball Week Planner. But if you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch. For Eric Mack, I'm Amber Wilson. Have a good week.